take her to the other side. I'm feeling strong, my little lady. I'm gonna keep her moving on. I'm gonna run till I drop to the break of dawn. Never gonna stop till I see the light. I'm feeling high, my little lady. I'm gonna take her to the other side. You know I used to smoke too much. You know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car. You can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car. We're gonna get real. Oh, I'm feeling good, my little lady. She's gonna take me to the other side. I'm feeling nice, my little lady. She's gonna keep me moving on. I'm gonna run till I drop to the break of dawn. Never gonna stop, she's gonna treat me right. I'm feeling good, my little lady. She's gonna take me to the other side. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and you can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and we're gonna get real. Come on, baby. Let's take a ride. I don't know where we're gonna go, but first, let's dance. You know I used to smoke too much, and you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and you can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much, and you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and we're gonna get real. Oh, I'm feeling high, my little lady. I'm gonna take her to the other side. I'm feeling strong, my little lady. I'm gonna keep her moving on. I'm gonna run till I drop to the break of dawn.
Giotto's is so good. These chocolates are, what? Chocolates? We're here about astrophotography. What are we doing? Wrong video. Whoops.
What have I done? Ooh, what have you seen? Early at night, got in the fight in the candlelight, looking through the screen. Now what have I done? What have you seen? You know there's no future in love when a person has come in between. Jamie's gone, can't love you see? There was nothing to say, took her away, and I feel the pain, made love in pain. Oh, 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 what have I done? What have you seen? She knows there's no future in love when a person has come in between. Jamie's gone, Jamie's gone. Can't look back, and now he feels so strong. Jamie's gone, Jamie's gone. Left last night, and now it seems so long. Ooh. You can hear these words I say when you're a million miles away. Yeah. Jamie's gone, Jamie's gone. Can't look back, and now he feels so strong. Jamie's gone, Jamie's gone. Left last night, and now it seems so long. Jamie, come on, Jamie, yeah. And now you feel so strong. Jamie, come on, Jamie, yeah. Left last night, and now it seems so long.
What the hell's wrong with my telescope now? Yeah, what's wrong with this thing?
The lost Lone Ranger, can I break this spell? One thing right, I make two things wrong. If I want that fine line, I will always take it wrong. If I don't do them, I can live from the right. I sleep all day long, and then I'm dreaming down through the night. I've seen a lot of bankers, and I've seen a lot of cops. I've seen a lot of lawyers pull out all the stops. I've seen a lot of children with their parents in their hands. I felt a lot of women refuse to understand. And I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. You see it in the papers, you read it every day. The riots and the fires going on in South LA. The muggers and the government, they're all wanting the same thing. take you for your money, I'm whatever else bring. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. 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 It's gotta mean something. It's gotta. All right. Where did my color go? Got your head in the sand. You can't be in control, using a powerful hand. I wanna be you, I wanna see you. Don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late. You're gonna push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, hide a little color, it's black and white and blue. Black and white and blue, yeah. All right. Cat learns to ring a bell. Rat gets free from the maze. We can be taught to love. We've got to learn a new way. I wanna see you, I wanna be you. Don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late. You're gonna push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, add a little color, it's black and white and blue. Black and white and blue, yeah. yeah. I wanna see you. Don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late, late. Push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, hiding in a color, it's black and white and blue. Yeah, black and white and blue. Black and white on the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, hiding in a color, it's black and white and blue. Black and white and blue. Another man come around today, gonna mess with my dream, gonna take it all away. Take it all away. I'm just a boy with nothing to lose, got my head in the news, got a bad attitude, yeah. Go away. So I play guitar. Another woman come around today, she wanna slice up my pie, she's gonna try to lock me all the way. Lock me all the way. I'm just a boy with nothing to lose, got my head in the news, got my bad attitude today. Don't care, cause I got nothing to lose. Don't care, cause I won't let them bring me down.
So it's a wonderful night tonight. It's really good. You know, cloudy nights and not cloudy nights, but clear dark sky and clear outside. Says it's going to be a wonderful night tonight. I mean, last night was wonderful. Tomorrow's supposed to be great. So I think I'm going to leave my telescope out all night, and it's going to be a really nice night tonight. So I'm hoping to get some really good shots of the Cave Nebula, which is part of my astrophotography meets D&D imaging. I know it's kind of looks scary, like the way I look at my eyes, kind of crazy. It's pretty cool, but I'm super excited for tonight, and let's see what kind of data I got. Well, yeah.
Dirty. I swear to God, these clouds are just pissing me the off. I don't understand. I don't listen to these things anymore. I can't take it. New York, you suck. And you know what? I'm so done with all this. My telescope's out here chilling out, and all I got is freaking clouds and PhD beeping at me till no goddamn end. Unbelievable. What am I gonna do? I need to move. I'm so finished with this. I hate this.
I've seen a lot of bankers, and I've seen a lot of cops. I've seen a lot of lawyers pull out all the stops. take her to the other side. You know I used to smoke too much. You know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, you can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, we're gonna get real. I'm feeling good, my little lady. She's gonna take me to the other side. I'm feeling nice, my little lady. She's gonna keep me moving on. I'm gonna run till I drop to the break of dawn. Never gonna stop, she's gonna treat me right. I'm feeling good, my little lady. She's gonna take me to the other side. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and you can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and we're gonna get real. Come on, baby. Let's take a ride. I don't know where we're gonna go, but first, let's dance. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and you can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and we're gonna get real. Oh. I'm feeling high, my little lady. I'm gonna take her to the other side. I'm feeling strong, my little lady. I'm gonna keep her moving on. I'm gonna run till I drop to the break of dawn. Never gonna...
Giottos is so good. These chocolates are what? Chocolates? We're here about astrophotography. What are we doing? Wrong video. Whoops.
What have I done? Ooh, what have you seen? Early at night, got in the fight, in the candlelight, looking through the screen. Now what have I done? What have you seen? You know there's no picture in love when a person has come in between. Jamie's gone, Jamie's gone. Can't look back and now he feels so strong. Jamie's gone, Jamie's gone. Left last night and now it's been so long. What have I done? What have you seen? There was nothing to say, took her away, and I feel the pain, made love in vain. Oh, oh, what have I done? What have you seen? She knows there's no future in love when a person has come in between. Jamie's gone, Jamie's gone. Can't look back, and now he feels so strong. Jamie's gone, Jamie's gone. Oh, left last night, and now it seems so long. Ooh. Ooh. You can't hear these words I say when you're a million miles away. Yeah. Jamie's gone, Jamie's gone. Can't look back, and now he feels so strong. Jamie's gone, Jamie's gone. Left last night, and now it seems so long. Jamie, come on, Jamie, yeah. And now you feel so strong. Jamie, come on, Jamie, yeah. Left last night, and now it seems so long.
What the hell's wrong with my telescope now? What's wrong with this thing?
Another lost Lone Ranger. Can I break this spell? Do one thing right, do I make two things wrong? If I want to stand my line, I will always take the ball. If I just do left, I can live from the right. I sleep all day long, and then I'm breathing through the night. I've seen a lot of bankers, and I've seen a lot of cops. I've seen a lot of lawyers pull out all of the stops. I've seen a lot of children with their parents in their hands. I felt a lot of women who refuse to understand. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to guitar players planet. You see it in the papers, you read it every day. The riots and the fires going on in South LA. The muggers and the government You're all wanting the same thing. They take you for your money and whatever else bring. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. 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 It's gotta mean something. It's gotta. All right. Where did my color go? Got your head in the sand. You can't be in control using a powerful hand. I wanna be you, I wanna see you. Don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late. You're gonna push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, hide a little color, it's black and white and blue. Black and white and blue, yeah. All right. Cat learns to ring a bell. Rat gets free from the maze. We can be taught to love. We've got to learn a new way. I wanna see you, I wanna be you. Don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late. You're gonna push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shadows. Push me to the edge, add a little color, it's black and white and blue. Black and white and blue. down. I wanna see, don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late, late. Push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, hide a little color, it's black and white and blue. Yeah, black and white and blue. Back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, hide a little color, it's black and white and blue. Black and white and blue. Another man come around today, gonna mess with my dream, gonna take it all away, take it all away. I'm just a boy with nothing to lose, got my head in the news, got a bad attitude, yeah, take it all away. So I play guitar. Another woman come around today, she wanna slice up my pie, she gonna try to lock me all the way, lock me all the way. I'm just a boy with nothing to lose, got my head in the news, got my bad attitude, and I'm dead. I don't care, 'cause I got nothing to lose. I don't care, 'cause I won't let them bring me down.
So it's a wonderful night tonight. It's really good. You know, cloudy nights and not cloudy nights, but clear dark sky and was it clear outside. Says it's going to be a wonderful night tonight. I mean, tonight, last night was wonderful. Tomorrow's supposed to be great. So I think I'm going to leave my telescope out all night, and it's going to be a really nice night tonight. So I'm hoping to get some really good shots of the Cave Nebula, which is part of my astrophotography meets D&D imaging. I know it's kind of looks scary, like the way I look at my eyes, kind of crazy. It's pretty cool, but I'm super excited for tonight, and let's see what kind of data I got. Well, yeah.
Dirty. I swear to God, these clouds are just pissing me the off. I don't understand. I don't listen to these things anymore. I can't take it. New York, you suck. And you know what? I'm so done with all this. My telescope's out here, chilling out, and all I got is freaking clouds and PhD beeping at me for no goddamn end. Unbelievable. What am I gonna do? I need to move. I'm so finished with this. I hate this.
I've seen a lot of bankers, and I've seen a lot of cops. I've seen a lot of lawyers pull out all the stops. take her to the other side. I'm feeling strong, my little lady. I'm gonna keep her moving on. I'm gonna run till I drop to the break of dawn. Never gonna stop till I see the light. I'm feeling high, my little lady. I'm gonna take her to the other side. You know I used to smoke too much. You know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and you can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and we're gonna get real. I'm feeling good, my little lady. She's gonna take me to the other side. I'm feeling nice, my little lady. She's gonna keep me moving on. I'm gonna run till I drop to the break of dawn. Never gonna stop, she's gonna treat me right. I'm feeling good, my little lady. She's gonna take me to the other side. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and you can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and we're gonna get real. Come on, baby. Let's take a ride. I don't know where we're gonna go, but first, let's dance. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and you can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much. And you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and we're gonna get real. Oh, oh. I'm feeling high, my little lady. I'm gonna take her to the other side. I'm feeling strong, my little lady. I'm gonna keep her moving on. I'm gonna run till I drop to the break of dawn. Never gonna...
Giottos is so good. These chocolates are what? Chocolates. We're here about astrophotography. What are we doing? Wrong video. Whoops.
What have I done? Ooh, what have you seen? Early at night, got in the fight, in the candlelight, looking through the screen. Now what have I done? What have you seen? You know there's no future in love when a person has come in between.
That's Dave is in mourning, right now. So, but sorry about the Caps. Yeah, they're gone. But uh, you know, so sorry,
Yeah.
Yogi. Anyway, how's it going, everybody? It's Friday. We're here at a weekend again, and we're in for a treat because it looks like Eric did a crap ton of work and is got a nice presentation for us because it looks pretty extensive. So I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what's gonna be going on there. A couple of housekeeping things. I did fix some things, and we'll play. We'll play it while I'm talking. Let's see if I can find it again. Where is it? Where is it? Come on. I need the all. There it is. Rolling credits. There we go. So we have lots of members now, and I found some people that were missing. So thank you for the people that have joined us on Patreon. Just so you know, and I'm trying to get through this in a minute or so because that's how long it takes these to go up. But thank you to everybody who has joined us on Patreon. If you're interested, there are different levels in Patreon on it. So and the NAS is going through its disk checking right now. It's 97% finished. So I have 4 terabytes getting ready to go live for the SFRO data. That's not going to be full, but that's what I got for space right now. And that will obviously expand as we go. So as you get up into the higher tiers, there are 3 tiers for the benefits of Starfront right now, and this is how I have it. I don't remember where it starts, but the first level of Starfront is going to be your standard data sets. And those are going to be the data sets that we could acquire of objects that are at mid-northern latitudes or higher. So probably about 40 degrees or 38 degrees and higher in latitude. So those are the ones. Anything under that, maybe a little bit lower than that, maybe about 35. Anything under 35 degrees will be considered a premium data set, and that is the next level higher. So once the next level higher, you will have access to all the data that we have, and then if you want to go crazy and get the next level higher, that allows you to do advanced requests on certain objects. So you get all the data plus you can request certain objects, and we'll have a hotline for an object list, and then we'll go into the queue of the target schedule. So thank you so much for all the people that have joined us. We've had 3 new members this week since we started this. A couple of free members upgraded their subscription to get into the Starfront data tiers. So thank you for that. And again, if you want to go to Patreon and AstroWorld TV, you could sign on, and I'll throw the link in the chat in a second. But thank you for all who have stuck with us. We now have 60 members, 10 of them being free members, but we have 50 members from Patreon and YouTube. Please, if you're going to join us, go to Patreon instead. Don't join us as a member in YouTube. I'm slowly getting rid of those and going to the Patreon because it's just a nicer platform. What else? From a business point of view, I've gotten some good news. I've gotten good news regarding QHY and Player One. They look like they are going to be starting to ship again at the end of this month. So that's what it looks like right now. Yep. I got a lot more Altair stuff coming in. Me and Nick have been getting some really good relationship going. So we're going to be doing that, building that relationship there. And
that's great.
Yep. And I know I've been saying this for a long time, and I'm sorry I'm slow on the take. Telegizmos will be up soon. Everything's not up yet. And when they come
What's
up,
turnaround time on the Telegizmos?
Depends on the materials and what size you need.
And what size?
Yeah, because it was taking a little from what I was told, the sourcing of the canvas was a little rough for a little bit. I think he's got that covered now. But let me know, and I could, if you want to place an order for Telegizmos, anything, please hit me up on email and let me know until the objects get up.
I want to get one for my 127.
Yeah. So you'll need
that
like
big, heavy thing
what is
I'm
it, the
using now is
TG6 or
too
something
heavy.
you'll need. So that's what you'll need. But that's all I got. Thank you everybody for supporting us on Patreon. Thank you for everybody who's been supporting us. I didn't say it also. We hit another milestone in AstroWorld TV. We broke, and I was going to say it Wednesday, and I totally forgot. We broke 2,400 subscribers on Patreon, on YouTube. So please, keep on fighting the good fight. Keep on,
smashing that
spreading
like
the word and making the comments and stuff like that. It's really, really important to build this kind of relationship and community. And thank you for everybody who watches us. It's really great. 400, almost 450 episodes in 6 years. It's pretty cool. So I think that's all I got for that. And Eric puts his hands over his camera. What is he doing?
Yeah, give me a sec. I just have to reconnect here.
I thought you were going to the bathroom or something.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, my camera is acting a little goofy. It's starting
right.
to act stupid, but
that's right. So Eric's got something going on here. He spent a lot of time today doing a pretty crazy PowerPoint presentation, but it's something that we were all talking about, right? Yeah. About getting back to the basics, right? And getting back to the grassroots, right? And all that kind of stuff. So
you, Matt.
Was that what?
What was that?
Matt Holovinsky sent 10 AstroWorld TV gift memberships.
Oh, nice. Thank you. You're the best.
Right.
Awesome. So Eric, I guess we'll pass it on to you.
All right.
What do you got, my friend?
Yeah. So let's get screen sharing going here. And I'm going to go to here and want this guy. So we'll hide this. All right. So yeah, so we've been talking about trying to do a little bit of a reset and a reboot with the show. And we all talked about what better thing to do, especially to refresh not only ourselves, but get others who are novices who are interested in astrophotography, who want to get started and don't know how or anything like that. I want us to start maybe getting back to the basics. And this presentation may go the entire show. I may have to break it up to try to keep it within time and pick it up next Wednesday or Friday. But I felt it would be a good idea for us all to have a refresher to also for our new members or for our new viewers and for viewers who are going to watch this on the replay who are interested in astrophotography but don't know where to get started or how to get started or understand what it means in what certain things mean in astrophotography. Let's get back to the basics. So that's what we're going to do here. Okay, so got quite a few discussion topics I wanted to cover, such as, basically, first off, what is astrophotography and what can I do? Understanding certain terminology, such as focal length, focal ratio, and image circle. So those are the topics that I wanted to cover and for us to discuss. So first off is astrophotography. What is it and what can I do in astrophotography? So first off, astrophotography is a type of photography that involves recording images of objects and phenomena beyond Earth's atmosphere. It's stars, it's planets, it's galaxies, it's nebulae, it's the moon, it's the sun. It's all of those celestial bodies, everything outside of our own atmosphere, using cameras mounted to telescopes or other imaging setups. Now, there's different types of, when we talk about astrophotography, there's different types of astrophotography. First one, which I know a lot of us do here in AstroWorld TV, is deep sky astrophotography. And what that is, it's capturing distant objects like galaxies, nebulae, and star clusters. Then there is planetary photography, which focuses on high-res, high-speed images of the planets, the moon, and the sun. And then you have wide field astrophotography, which uses short focal lengths, which we'll talk about focal lengths also in a bit, to photograph large areas of the night sky, for example, the Milky Way. There's time-lapse and star trails astrophotography, which uses long exposures or sequences to show stars in the star motion over a certain period of time. And there is narrowband astrophotography, which captures specific wavelengths of light emitted by ionized gases. And this is most common when we're imaging nebulae. So, that all being said, astrophotography is quite a unique, how I want to say, um, not science, but it's quite a unique hobby. Okay, because what we're doing here is we're doing things that require long focal length exposures. Uh, and did I just lose? It requires long focal length exposures. It requires tracking mounts. Sometimes we often have to stack multiple images to reveal detail. It deals with challenges like light pollution, atmospheric distortion, faint signal levels. And it also uses quite a bit of post-processing to really bring out the contrast, reduce noise, and calibrate our images. Okay. Can you see my next screen?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay,
Yep, you're good.
cool. Yeah, with the ghost. Okay, because my camera is down on me. That's all. All right.
You're
So, in what can I do? When it comes to astrophotography and what can you do, it really depends on a lot of things. It depends on what your goals are. It depends on what gear you have or you want to have or want to purchase. It's the level of experience you currently have. Your location is a big thing, as well as, of course, your own personal interest. So I'm going to break these down that can help, influence this decision. So when we talk, first off, we're going to talk about our equipment. Now, as I said earlier, we're going to talk a little bit about focal length in a bit, but you have your focal length and your aperture. And if you're using equipment and telescopes that have a short focal length, those are very good for wide field nebulae. Really short focal lengths, camera lenses, those are good for Milky Ways. You can even get, complete constellations sometimes. Some mid-range focal length telescopes and equipment. You can grab galaxies, you can get certain nebulae, you can get globular clusters. And if we're going over that 1500 millimeter focal length, which is what we call our long focal length, you can capture small galaxies, distant galaxies, and you can even do planetary imaging. And another piece of equipment, which is what we always talk about, the most important piece is our mount and its quality. There's different types of mounts. You can have a track equatorial mount, which really opens up the way for you to do deep sky imaging, or you can use an altitude azimuth or untracked setups, which sort of limit you to short exposures, but those are very good for lunar and solar imaging. And there's your cameras. Most of us, especially if we're doing standard terrestrial or family photos, have DSLRs and mirrorless cameras, which are very versatile and they're great for beginners, or wide field imaging. And as we move further into our experience, we may decide to move into a dedicated CMOS or CCD Astro camera, which is going to really enable us to do more serious imaging, such as narrowband imaging, and also doing cool long exposure imaging. Next thing we're going to talk about are your interests. want to maybe decide on, you may have several interests when it comes to astrophotography, but this is going to be a big part of what you decide to do when it comes to what you want to photograph and and how far or how deep you want to go into the hobby of astrophotography. Your interest may move towards deep sky objects. Maybe you've seen a lot of our images our images maybe on Facebook or other sites, our own image of the weeks and things like that, or images of the month. If you go to AstroBin, you can see a lot of deep sky objects, and that's it. And those are if you really love imaging galaxies and nebulae and star clusters. And you'll want to have key there is good guiding, because you're going to do long exposures. If you want to do more high res stuff and faster stuff, you are interested in doing planetary or lunar, because you're going to need high magnification and you're going to need cameras that kick out very fast frame rates. When we talk about portability, maybe you're thinking about something like wide field Milky Way or landscape astrophotography, something that's, you can take wide field shots with maybe your DSLR in a 55 or maybe a 22 millimeter, 18 millimeter camera lens, things that are really great for if you're going to go out to a deep sky site and you're going to take some portable lightweight gear. And then, of course, we have our narrowband imaging, which is perfect if you live in a big city or in a light polluted area or sky, and you want to capture hydrogen alpha, oxygen 3, and sulfur 2 data. Now, of course, another thing is going to, of course, be your location. Is going to play a big part in deciding what you're going to photograph. So when it comes to, if you live in a city, light pollution. In a city, narrowband is going to be your friend, so hydrogen alpha imaging. If you're at a dark site, or if you live near a dark site or around a dark site, you can go after broadband targets like galaxies and reflection nebulae. Those are more easy to image and more accessible. And also, what visibility do you have to different parts of the sky? If you have good visibility to the southern part of the sky, that'll give you different objects than versus if you're imaging, or if you only have visibility to the north, so you can see different things. Your visibility may be affected by trees if you live in the city, perhaps buildings, skyscrapers, depending on where you live, whatever that is. Maybe even your horizon obstructions may limit what parts of the sky are practical for you to image. Another big thing is going to be how much time are you willing to devote to the craft? How much time are you willing to devote to your imaging? So if you want to just get in, do some quick imaging and things like that, perhaps you may want to consider planetary or lunar imaging, using high-speed video, high-speed captures, and you're going to do fast capturing and short processing. If you're okay with devoting more time, you can maybe decide if you want to do an all-night session, go for doing deep sky imaging, because it requires hours per target, and it may take you multiple nights, or doing multiple filters. If you're doing monochrome or anything like that, or narrowband, it's going to take you quite a bit longer. So these are things you want to think about as well, is that time commitment. Other decision-making piece would be maybe your level of experience and how well you want to work as far as your workflow. A beginner may want to just start out doing wide field or lunar shots, or bright deep sky objects like the Orion Nebula or M31, the Andromeda Galaxy. If you're more intermediate, but getting more experience, you can then maybe, if you want to, you can move to guiding, doing longer exposures, longer integrations, and then start working with different types of processing software that can calibrate your images and stack your images. And if you get to that next level, like quite a few of us in the chat, and then have that experience already right now. We consider ourselves maybe a bit more of the advanced side, where we can do narrowband imaging. We can do mosaics, and some of us even have observatories that we've automated to open and close the roof, track things as far as tracking how our domes may turn and have it in sync with our telescope, our mounts. So we can do a lot more advanced things. So it really depends also on your preferences as far as how much experience and how much you want to really get into your workflows. And lastly is your post-processing skills. If you're comfortable with Photoshop, PixInsight, APP, you're going to most likely enjoy doing deep sky imaging a bit more. If you're not as comfortable with those, give Planetary a try, because it had maybe a slightly simpler processing pipeline. You're only using Registax and AutoStacker, maybe in either SharpCap or FireCapture. But it does require, some sharpening and some frame stacking. Okay, so I'm going to pause here really quick. Is there any thoughts, questions in the chat? Because I can't see anything right now.
I haven't seen any questions.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Nothing yet. People just listening and enjoying the show.
All right. Cool. So next piece topic we're going to cover is focal length. When understanding focal length, what exactly is focal length? Now, focal length is a very crucial piece, is a very crucial concept that determines how zoomed in or how wide your field of view is when you're imaging the sky. As you can see here in my photo, I've got 3 different scopes stacked on top of one another to give you an idea of different types of requirements to do different types of focal lengths. So the general definition of a focal length is a focal length is the distance measured in millimeters between the optical center of a lens or a telescope and the point where it brings that light into focus, be that your image sensor on your camera or the eyepiece. A shorter focal length is going to give you a wider view, and that's going to be better for capturing much larger objects and much larger regions or parts of the sky. A longer focal length gives you a narrower or more detailed view, which is really good for small and distant targets. Here you see this is the 152 by Explore Scientific. This is a very long focal length scope. It's over 1,000 millimeters. I want to say it was close to 1,200. So this is an example of something that gives you a longer focal length. So when we talk about focal length, we're talking about fields of view and what we can image. So if you have a short focal length setup, say maybe with a Rokinon 135 or something up to say a 80 or 90 millimeter telescope, you're going to be more of a wide field of view type of imager, getting the Milky Way, large nebulae, and constellations. When you are at the medium range between 5 to 1,200 millimeters in focal length, which is more of a moderate, you can get galaxies, you can get smaller nebulae, and you can go after star clusters. And when you're going beyond 1,500 millimeters, now you're going into the narrow field, the long focal length, which are your smaller galaxies like the Sombrero Galaxy, and you're also maybe looking at doing more planetary or solar or lunar imaging. So an example of understanding what the focal length is, helping you understand that field of view, say a Rokinon 135, a 135 millimeter lens, you might be able to capture the entire Orion cluster. Or you're going to have to maybe do a little bit of framing, but depending on your camera, but you can probably get the entire Orion cluster. If you have an 800 millimeter telescope, you may be able to squeeze in the Orion M42. Now, with a long focal length telescope like an Edge HD11, you can really tighten into those distant galaxies, or you can really start getting into planetary. But why does this all matter? Well, it matters because it affects your image scale, it affects your resolution, and most importantly, it affects your guiding requirements. The longer the focal length of your telescope, the more precise tracking and guiding you need because you have narrower tolerances. So we want to keep that. So when we're talking about focal length, this is one of those things, especially as a new astrophotographer, a new imager, things we have to keep in mind. Okay, so next we'll talk a little bit about focal ratio. And this is when we're talking about short or long exposures and understanding what focal ratio is. So what is focal ratio? The focal ratio in astrophotography is also one of those key concepts, and it helps in a way consider if something is fast or slow. And that's going towards, depending on also the image brightness, your exposure time, and your field of view. And there is a calculation for your focal ratio. It's a pretty simple calculation to know what your focal ratio is. The focal ratio, or your F number, or your F, is the focal length of your telescope divided by the diameter of the aperture of your telescope or lens. So for example, a telescope that has a 1000 millimeter focal length and a 200 millimeter aperture is dividing that 1000 divided by 205, you have a F5 focal ratio. So when it comes to fast and slow, when we talk about fast and slow, when it comes to speed and imaging and different types of scopes, you hear different types of terms, like this is a fast scope, or that's a slow scope, or F3.9, or F2, or F7, or F10, things like that. What do these things mean? So when you have a faster telescope, those are usually more wide field type telescopes. When you have a fast F ratio, you can take shorter exposures and they're usually much brighter images. For a more balanced type of field of view and speed, you're probably looking between F5 to F7. And anything usually beyond F7, that's considered a slow focal ratio. Those are narrow fields of view, higher magnification, and much longer exposures. And we're going to talk about exposures in just a sec here.
Unless you're doing planetary on something very bright like a planet or the sun. Or
exactly. Yeah. If you're doing something on a planet, as far as planetary, then you're using high speed.
Yeah, and that focal ratio, you want to be big number, not a small.
You want to be at that higher focal ratio because you want to be able to get more surface detail. You want to be at F20, or you want to use a Barlow or PowerMate, be at F20, F25, F30, and but the counter to that, the balance to that, since you're using a slower telescope as far as the F ratio, you're using a faster, higher speed camera. You're using high speed video. So, and that's the counter to, using that slower F ratio, using that.
I think a lot of it has to do with the brightness of your target. Anything that's
the surface brightness.
Could it be like planets and the sun? Yeah, that's super bright stuff. So high focal ratio is better.
Yep. So here we have a chart of why this matters in astrophotography. When it comes to exposure time, when you have a faster F ratio, like between F3 to F5, your exposure times are going to be much shorter. And as we were talking about, if you're at that F8, F10s, and so on, you're going to have a longer exposure time. The image brightness is very important. The brighter, the better your photons. Your photons are going to be more spread over your chip, and over fewer pixels. The image brightness on a slower setup is going to be dimmer. Okay, those are usually your dimmer, fainter galaxies. and planetary nebula, you know, things like that, items, you know, targets like that. Your field of view with a fast F ratio, you have a wider field of view. And the opposite, if you have a slower F ratio, you have a narrower field of view. Your resolution to scale, you have a lower image scale, meaning you're going to have a much wider sky to photograph or image. When you're at a higher image scale, it's more zoomed in. And this is good for when you're doing fast imaging. We have a fast focal ratio. This is great for large galaxies, nebulae, even if you're doing mosaics of big areas of the sky, because you're doing so much of the sky, so many, you know, quadrants of the sky. It's good to have a faster scope because it takes less time to gather that data.
That's a great picture, by the way, in that slide.
Yeah, thanks. And this in here, when we're doing a slow F ratio between F8 and F10, like I said earlier, those are good for planets, your small galaxies, lunar imaging, things like that. So in astrophotography, when we talk about a faster F ratio, it means faster light gathering per pixel, which is why an F4 system collects four times as much light, and it's 4 times as fast as an F8 system with, you know, for the same exposure brightness. So here's a quick comparison. So I have an Edge 8, and if I'm using my reducer at F7, and now, or if I'm comparing that with my FLT91, which is at F4.8, the F4.8 or my refractor is going to deliver the same brightness in half the exposure time compared to my Edge 8 at F7. But the Edge 8 is going to have more reach. It's going to be, you know, I'll be able to have a much narrower field of views, and I'll be able to get a bit higher, and I'll get higher resolution for those smaller targets. Now, for imaging, why do we want to go fast? Shorter sub exposures. You have less of a tracking error, less guiding drift, and you're going to be able to process your images a bit easier. Fast systems like the RASA, that's at F2, or your Newtonians, like the Sharp Star at F3, 3.9 in this example, they're really, really great for deep sky imaging. But faster scopes like the F2, like the RASA, and like a Newtonian will often require, you know, a bit more work to, you know, keep them up, to have them ready. So you have more demanding collimation, you know, steps you have to do versus having just a simple refractor. So you have to deal with collimation as well as field correction. So question, how can we calculate how much exposure time, more or less time, when we're comparing focal ratios? There is a calculation called the squared ratio rule. You can calculate how much more or less exposure time you need when comparing focal ratios using this ratio rule. The time ratio equals the square root of your new rig divided by your original rig. So this will basically tell you how much longer or shorter an exposure you would need when changing from one F ratio, focal ratio, to another to achieve the same image brightness. And that's the key, to achieve the same image brightness. So if we are looking at comparing F7 to F5, we are taking a look at, so we have this calculation here. We have our F7 scope divided by our F5 scope, and the square root of that, which is 1.4, and the square root of that is, squared. F2, it's squared, you have 1.96. So it'll take almost twice as long for the F7 to get that same brightness in exposure. So you have to take, it'll be twice as much exposure time to get that same brightness as you would with your F5 rig. Same thing if you're going between, if you're comparing between F10 and F4. You have 2.5 squared, which is 6.25. So that F10 system needs over 6 times longer exposure than the F4. So that is huge, you know, when we're talking about efficiency and imaging efficiency. So there is a rule of thumb, you know, when you're looking, comparing an F4 to F5, the relative exposure time is about 1.5 times longer. F4 to F8, 4 times as long, same as an F5 to F4, same, because you're basically having both of those. And if you're going from F6.3 to F7, just a little over, not that much difference. But you want to keep this in mind. This really only compares brightness per pixel for those extended objects like nebulae and galaxies. It doesn't factor the target size because faster scopes have a wider field, and larger scopes, you know, larger targets, they're going to appear smaller. Exposure time also depends on the sky brightness, the filter you're using, narrowband versus broadband, and the quantum efficiency of your sensor. So take all of those into account when you are thinking about moving from one rig to another and trying to calculate and figure out how much longer or how much shorter do my exposures need to be if I'm imaging the same target. So, like I said, if I'm imaging with my Edge HD at F7 and I want to go to that F5, so an F5 refractor, my current exposures are about 4 minutes, okay, at F7. So that, and this is, and if I'm at F5, I'm down to basically 2 minutes. Okay, so I'm recovering basically, so I'm basically doing more work using that F7 scope and spending more time at F7 than I would at F5. And so just remember that. So when we're taking the, you know, making our decisions on, and we're talking to say Dan at AstroWorld Telescopes, and we want to decide on what we want to image, how long we want to commit as far as dedicating time and everything. We want to keep these things into consideration. And there is, if you're ever curious, you can calculate this stuff actually all in Excel. There is a plug-in here or a calculation here. You can just copy and put this information to Excel and you can build your own table. All right. We are at 8:50. Okay, cool. So I guess we may get through it all. So lastly is, what is my image circle? That's the last topic. So in astrophotography, our image circle refers to the circular area of light projected by a telescope or camera lens onto the imaging sensor. And this is critical because it determines whether your sensor is fully illuminated or how much of the frame will be free from vignetting, which is darkening at the corners. So the image circle is a circular beam of light that's formed by the focal plane by your telescope or your lens. And the diameter of this circle defines the maximum sensor size that can be fully illuminated without vignetting. And this is measured in millimeters. So for example, a telescope with a 22 millimeter image circle is optimized for sensors usually up to an APS-C. But anything larger than that, like a full frame, is going to suffer from what we call edge fall off. So this is important for in astrophotography because if the sensor is larger than the image circle, the corners will be dark, in other words, which we call vignetting, or they'll be even completely black. So for a full frame camera, you need an image circle of at least 43 millimeters in diameter. Just a second, sorry. My sister's coming in town.
Oh,
Okay. Sorry about that. So field illumination. Field illumination, a larger image circle means better edge-to-edge brightness, especially when it comes to import. That's really important when we're talking about wide field or mosaics. Field correction, that's when you're using a flattener or using a reducer. Many of these correctors have limited image size, image circle sizes, so you want to match them to your sensor to prevent any types of aberrations or vignetting at the edges. And when we're doing mosaics, if you have a really good imaging circle with even illumination, this is going to help when we want to start stitching images together. So we have our different sensor types here, and matching those sensors, that image circle with our sensor size. So we have a CMOS, 1-inch CMOS, for example. The average diagonal is 16 millimeters. So give or take, the imaging circle is either about equal or a little bit or close to 18 millimeters. In APS-C, we're getting around 28, so we're getting close to maybe 30 millimeters, and full frame and medium format, so on and so on. So an example of this would be the Player One Poseidon. Player One Poseidon is an APS-C sensor, and its diagonal is 28.3 millimeters. So you want to make sure that your telescope and any accessories you have, like a focal reducer, a flattener, rotators, whatever, that's in that imaging circle, support whatever's in that imaging train, rather, support that imaging circle of at least 30 millimeters, at least 30 millimeters for optimal performance. You could end up with some edging or some vignetting, but you can calibrate that out with good flats. Okay, and we'll talk about flats and calibration frames in another show. We'll get back to that. To fully illuminate the sensor of the Poseidon, you need to consider the sensor size and calculate the minimum image circle diameter that's going to avoid vignetting. So the specs of the Poseidon, it's an IMX 571. As I said, it's a APS-C sensor, and the diagonal is 28.3 millimeters. So to fully illuminate the sensor, your imaging system should have an imaging circle of at least that size.
basically like 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches.
Yeah. So the full coverage of so we talk about that imaging circle. You don't want to have any vignetting. You want to that imaging circle should be equal or greater than 28.5 millimeters. Acceptable, you have some minor vignetting, like I said, that can be calibrated out with flats. 26 to 28 millimeters is that imaging circle. And the marginal, anything less than 26, you're going to be dealing with some dark corners. So it's very important to make these decisions on the type of camera and matching it up with the correct scope and the correct accessories like a flattener or a reducer to make sure that you at least are able to fully illuminate that sensor. So how do we check if our scope or flattener is compatible? Again, we make sure that it lists at least, and we look at the manufacturer. We look at the manufacturer's specs when it comes to our scope, and our reducer and comparing that to the specs of our camera manufacturer. We want to make sure that it lists that it can fully cover the sensor size, in this case, the APS-C of the Poseidon. So my Edge 8 with a 0.7 reducer, it roughly has a 28 millimeter imaging circle. There's going to be some slight vignetting. I've tried it. There's going to be some slight vignetting. Some smaller, if you're going to use a corrector, or if you end up having a corrector or a field flattener, it's 1 1/4 size, and it only covers 22 to 24 millimeters, you're going to have vignetting no matter what. You are definitely going to have vignetting. So you really want to make sure you're matching every piece of equipment to make sure you get the best illumination, you get full illumination onto your sensor. Now, we're going to go from a larger sensor like the APS-C to another one that we also have, the Uranus-C. The Player One Uranus-C is a IMX585 sensor, and that is a 1.5 format CMOS sensor. So we're going to break this down here as well. The IMX575, its sensor format is, like I said, 1.1 inch sensor. It's a 1 1/2 inch sensor. So the sensor size of the diagonal is almost 13 millimeters. So a Uranus-C's sensor diagonal is pretty small compared to the APS-C or a full frame, definitely compared to a full frame sensor.
Yeah, way small.
Yeah. So to illuminate that Uranus-C sensor, you're going to need an imaging circle of at least 14 millimeters. Now, most telescopes nowadays and most telescope systems are designed for APS-C or larger sensors. So you should not you should not have a problem, because the imaging circles are going to be usually 28 millimeter or greater. So you should be totally cool with using this sensor. Even if you've got a small refractor, the Schmidt-Cassegrains, like a C6 or something, or even if you're using small flatteners, you should be totally fine using this small of a sensor. These are usually what we call you can have usually using the 1 1/4 inch filters and things like that. Now, some of the advantages of using a small sensor is that there's no vignetting. And a lot of times there's no need for any large or expensive flatteners or reducers. If you want to do any type of solar or lunar or planetary imaging, you can use this for sure, and you can achieve higher frame rates. And you can even use this with a guide scope, or doing lucky imaging or anything like that on any small deep sky objects. Now, there are limitations with having these smaller sensors. You are going to have a narrower field of view because it's a smaller sensor compared to an APS-C or a full frame. It's not as recommended, it's not as suited for really wide field deep sky targets. And you could end up having lower resolution on some large targets unless you stitch up together a mosaic. So again, you have the sensor diagonal, which is approximately 13 millimeters. The recommended image circle is equal or greater to 14 millimeters. And as far as its compatibility with most telescopes, it's really compatible with most setups. So if you're using a Uranus-C, you should be in some pretty great shape. So I think that's it. Yep, and that is it. Wow, I was able to get through it all. Holy crap, that was big. There we go.
Yeah, you could do it.
So there it is. So, all right, let me stop sharing here. So, and I am going to have to reconnect my screen here. So, there we go. Cool.
Yeah, so I think the key, one of the things you were saying about image circle and everything, is if you are in the market for a new camera or a new telescope, just make sure, you're buying something that's going to support what you have. Don't go out
Exactly.
and buy, say, I want a full frame camera, but then you put it on your telescope and your telescope won't handle it. Or, when you buy a telescope and and you have a full frame camera, make sure you get something that's going to have a big enough image circle to support that full frame camera. There's a lot of people a lot of people getting started want to put their DSLR on. You have a DSLR, it's got a full frame sensor. Don't make sure you get the proper scope that can handle a full frame sensor. Most refractors nowadays that are meant for astro imaging are going to be able to support a full frame.
Yes.
The only thing would be if you went into, the SCTs or a Newtonian or something like that. May not. So just be aware of that.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see here. Now we also, just a reminder, we have about a little under half an hour before image of the week is announced. So if you haven't voted yet, don't forget to go to astroworldweb.com/IOTW and vote. We have a novice image out there, as well as I believe 3 experienced images, all very nice. So definitely support our fellow imagers and vote, and so they can move on to image of the month or for May. Let's see here. Yes, absolutely, Sherry. Thank you. And don't forget, if you like this presentation, you like what we're trying to do here and what we are been doing here, been doing this for like the past 5-6 years. Don't forget to smash that like button. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps out with YouTube. It helps us grow and pass on this information to your friends, people who are interested in saying, oh, wow, I wish I could do this stuff. I want to learn how to do this, but I don't know how to get started. Direct them to us, or, point them to us. If you friends and people in your astronomy club who are maybe even doing visual right now and who are interested in doing imaging, share the video, share AstroWorld TV with them, let them know we are here, and share a video like this with them so they can understand those basics and stuff like that. So, yes. All right.
Sorry, I was in the middle of
Yeah.
eating, and
I see that.
Hey,
I thought I gave you enough time, bro.
Yeah, well, no, it came in about halfway in, and it just, Jen's been working. We've been dealing with the house. It's been a whole big thing, and it's been But Eric gave Dave gave a good point right at the top of the chat. Great talk, Eric. I would restate exposure time and F ratio by stating the rules are true only for a given camera and scope combo. The pixel size, darkness, aperture, read noise all play into the final exposure time.
Yep, they do. There's a lot of different pieces that I didn't cover in this.
Yep.
That as we gather more experience, we will all learn, and you will learn it together. You'll learn it. We learn it. We all will get there. It's just a matter of your level of commitment to the hobby and how much you want, as I say, how much of those 6 key points I pointed out that you want to put into your image, into the hobby. If you don't want to put in a lot of time, there are certain setups and rigs that you can go for where you don't have to put in a lot of time. You don't have to put in a lot of processing and things like that. But if you are one of those that wants to make that plunge, wants to, go further down the rabbit hole, make that deeper dive and take the red pill, there are some things you are going to have to know, and eventually you will learn and will know That's why we also have our Discord server, our Discord chat. So definitely join us on our Discord chat. You can ask questions there. Or you can ask them right here in our chat and stuff like that when we're on the when we're on the air. So definitely.
B-Rad had a question about how does faster F ratio scope perform in heavy light pollution. And I told him, it can help because then you don't have to take as long as exposures for your supplements.
Yeah.
Therefore, it doesn't allow that light pollution to affect the brain, your subframe drastically.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's another reason why,
So
in New York,
shorter F ratios and light pollution can be a benefit.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I know that Dave and I, Eric has moved to little brighter, little darker skies than us. So he used to be pretty bad too. But actually, Scott's had good skies all around. So I mean, we all hate Scott. So I mean, he's always, he went from like a Bortle 5 to a Bortle 5 or 4. So I mean, it really doesn't matter. But that's why I opt for like I don't go crazy into the F2 like the Rasa range, but I go into the F6s and F5s and F7s with the refractors, and I love doing the refractors because it's kind of like the best of both worlds for light polluted skies. You get a little faster of a scope than your F10, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get a little bit faster. Plus, you get the clarity of a refractor, and you kind of get the best of both worlds there. But you're restricted a little bit in the depending on the focal length of your scope. You're restricted on what you're going to image. So if you're at a 400 millimeter focal length because you got an 80 and you're at F 6 or 7, you may be getting it fast, but now you're relegated to larger objects. Really, I mean, you could image those smaller objects, but you're not going to be able to resolve those tiny details that you kind of need to get those like wispiness in M51 or something like that. You won't get that. Cameras are getting good and they're getting better, but I mean, they're still
better
at the door's limit of the scope, right?
You would really need something with a camera that pixel size.
Well, even that, you're still at the door's limit of the scope, right? I mean, there's only so much a piece of 3-inch glass can resolve. You know what I mean?
You can't get past physics.
Yeah. No, I mean, you could go around physics with software these days to an extent. To an extent.
Exactly.
But
there's always a trade-off, though.
There is, and the more software you add into it, the more manipulation you have into it. There's that diminishing returns line, right? Where
that's right.
Say, it could only be so good based on the equipment that you have. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's why also when I was in Chicago or in Illinois, one of the reasons why I got the Rasa was for this reason.
For that light pollution reason, right?
I had light pollution. We have light pollution issues. And using that Rasa, that was one of my ways to combat the light pollution issue, as well as using a color camera with with the NBZ. So I could be able to get narrowband images at a shorter time with a wider band pass, but it was able to fight off that light pollution. But I was able to get things so much faster, like getting M42. I could start snapping I could start snapping a 30-second or even shorter frame, shorter exposure time pictures and just start going off and just blazing through. And one thing was also EAA. EAA is a lot of fun, especially if you're sometimes in those light polluted skies and electronic assisted astrophotography, and you can just 10 seconds, 20 seconds, they just start stacking like crazy, and you can really take advantage of that focal ratio, that high speed focal ratio. So it really depends on your seeing conditions, your location. There's so many of these different factors, and your level of commitment and experience that you want to really put into.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Dave does a lot of EAA over at the nature preserve in Stony Brook. I forgot the name of it already. I haven't been there in so long, but I know I'm such a loser. It's only like 20 minutes away from my house. But Avalon, thank you, Dave. Thank you.
Billion light years away.
It's billions and billions. No, but you know, he does a lot. He does a lot of EAA, and he puts it on a screen. He does solar, and he does a whole bunch of stuff. So, you know, hey, listen, I may be moving closer to you, Dave. You know, somewhat soon. So, I mean, you may see me a lot more than you'd like. so
Cool.
we shall see what we shall see. So
yeah. So next week, I think I know we had the title about the budget and everything.
Yeah.
So, but then I dropped in this presentation. The reason why I want to drop in this presentation now is I think it gives us a good foundation when we want to start talking about building particular types of astrophotography rigs, and we're talking about certain budgetary concerns, and this all of this stuff starts playing a factor into this hobby, you know. So I think this is a good talk and a good foundation to have. And then next week, maybe next Wednesday or Friday, we can talk about that. We can then start building, you know, off of this information and making that call to Dan, you know, at AstroWorld Telescopes to say, hey, Dan, I just saw the video from last week of Eric's presentation. I want to do this, and help guide me into getting what I can get for this budget. What can I be able to do? What can I be able to see? Now, don't forget, there's also a lot of other free tools that we can use. And we want to direct you to, such as astronomy.tools. Astronomy.tools has been bookmarked in my browser, I think, since I started astrophotography, because there's so many bits of information that you can get from that website that can help you and provide you knowledge to share, you know, with Dan when it's time for you to make that decision on, okay, what works well with what. Because, and I say, if I want to get all of M31, I want to get M31 and M1, you know, 110. I want to get the entire Andromeda group. What type of setup can I use, and what can I do, and what do I expect to see if I buy a Poseidon, or I buy Uranus, or if I bought a Zeus? You know, things like that. And what type of telescope or even camera lens can I use to get there and be able to do this stuff? So yeah, we're going to talk about that stuff next week, and just build this first rig. And this isn't going to be the first rig. This is just baby steps. Getting started, getting our feet wet, and we're going to build on and get bigger and bigger, and start throwing other, you know, things at this, you know, at this rig.
Matt came up with a good point about using the GTI head as a starting point. And that's a great idea. I mean, that's you know, it's a lightweight mount head, and it comes in a package. So looks like it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So I mean, you know, it's definitely great for a starter. It holds up to 11 pounds. So either a long camera lens or a small telescope, and
small refractor,
it'll work great.
60 millimeter. You can get a 60 millimeter doublet, you know, ED, and
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're great. I mean,
Yeah, and a lot of them, especially a lot of some of these, they're so good. Some of these doublets have gotten so good that some of them even have corrected the aberrations and everything,
Yep.
so you don't end up with purple fringing and
Yep,
stuff
yep.
like that. So they can be almost as good as some of these lower end triplets.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but
So
you know,
the
if we're
thing-
keeping
the
this
thing I
under
tell
1500, if we're keeping
Yeah,
this under
yeah,
1500,
under
you know,
$1,000.
you're at
So
8 with the GTI, and then you got the scope. If you go in triplet, forget it. Your 1500's done. You know.
Yes.
So, but
Yeah.
you know, that's why I think Dave,
So
you know,
the
that doublet.
downside of staying under 1500 is if you're getting a doublet, I always would recommend if you're going to go doublet, go mono, but then that's hard to do.
Yeah.
So you're adding a filter wheel.
Well,
and
the
stuff like that.
585 mono is relatively cheap, but still, it's you know,
Yes.
you'd
You
have to
filter
get the
wheel and
uncooled.
filters.
You'd have to get the uncooled and then a filter drawer and then filters. So I
Yeah.
mean,
Yep.
you know, I think that you're better off going with a color and a dual band and just be done with it to start.
And what about like the mini cam?
The minicam's $800.
If you could find them.
Is it that much?
Yeah, the
If-
minicam
Well,
is
but that's
$800.
what I'm saying. It's $800.
It's well, they raised the price a little bit. The mono's a little bit more now.
Yeah.
The color is I still have the colors in stock, but they ain't going anywhere.
But that's what a lot of people don't understand is if you got a doublet, you got a mono camera
with 7-nanometer narrow bands built in. So I mean, you know, so $800. It's a 585. It's a small chip, but it's you're not using it. You know, hopefully you're not putting it in. You know, an Edge 8 or something. You know,
Exactly.
you know, I mean, you know, it's all about starting. So if you're talking 800 for the mount, now the scope, you're over 2000. So even that is, you know, basically what you want to kind of start with what you got. I think, you know, that's one of the things you got to think about. So if you have that DSLR, there's nothing wrong with starting
if
with
you
it.
have a DSLR.
I think somebody's feeding back.
Yeah.
That's G-Force. That's Scott. You're feeding back.
There we go.
There we go.
So yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
But yeah, so if you use that DSLR, get some clip-in filters, you know, and throw that on with a T-ring and a T extender, and you're good to go. So
yeah, and sometimes don't be afraid to look into AstroMart and Cloudy Nights. Oh, we got some eBay, things like that.
Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, and look for you know, perhaps pre-owned, you know, because you do have people who have started where you are starting and have moved up, right? And now they want to move on from that beginner setup, and you could possibly look for certain pieces. You may not be able to find everything, but you may be able to find certain pieces, and then Dan can fill in the gaps for you and get you started. So it just really depends. But yeah, I would say start off with what you got if you can.
And a lot of times you'll find on Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that, people who don't realize what they have. They're just trying to get rid of stuff. Somebody in their family's passed away, unfortunately, but you know, they have to try and get rid of stuff, and they just put stuff up there. You look through and go, oh yeah, I'll come take that off.
Yeah. But I just never know. You never know. But as far as brand new, there are some options out there. It's just some of them you're going to have to be relegated maybe to a one-shot color. Yep. And as we said, maybe using some dual narrowband filters like the NBX, or like there's others like Aunt Leah's that you have to use. But Richard, exactly. The big thing is probably to start out with a good mount. Tracking is extremely important. It's depending on what you want to do. If
Yeah, that's
you,
definitely what matters most.
Yeah. Tom, you know what
Right.
I'll do is when you die, I'll drive out to, you know, Indiana. I'll pick up your
Yeah,
stuff. And I'll,
he asked me. I'm
I'll-
going to get his
I'll,
stuff.
I'll sell it and I'll give the proceeds to your wife. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, but what if
Yeah.
they do a Bonnie and Clyde and go out together?
Oh God!
like Thelma and Louise.
Oh God! Jeez,
Well,
Dave.
like Bonnie and
Oh man,
Clyde.
Oh my God.
In his Corvette, they're on a
going
bank
down like
robbing
Thelma and
spree.
Louise or Bonnie and Clyde. Good Lord, man.
You're gonna take a header in the Grand Canyon.
Jeez.
Oh, Sherry's getting it first. You're gonna be you'll beat me there, Sherry, because I got a long drive
She's
to
closest,
Tom's
yeah.
house,
Yeah.
To
Wow.
the Terre Haute area, you know.
It's Terre Haute. Yeah. So.
Yeah,
but
we got 7 minutes for picture of the week, so go vote. Hey,
Yep,
Eric,
so
I
go
gotta
vote.
ask a question. Is your A and V green on your shirt?
No, it's gold.
It's gold. Well, it's getting faded out. It's faded out.
Yeah, I know.
It's
Gold
thinking it's
bars.
green.
Looking at screen.
Oh, I see gold.
It's gold.
Yeah, but on YouTube it's green.
Ah, I got you.
It's being taken out with the green screen.
Gotcha.
It's got, you know, gold has hints of green in it, so it thinks it's green.
Gotcha.
It says Navy
That's
wing.
right,
red
Dave.
and Gold.
Gold. Yeah, that's right. Blue and gold.
Let's
I
see
don't
if I
know
were
what I've been
to
told.
if I were to take off the
Navy
color
wings
key
are
right
made
now.
of gold.
Made of gold. I don't know what has been said, but Air Force wings are made of lead.
That's
geez.
right. Although it's funny how when you're landing in a plane, you can always tell the Navy pilot from the Air Force pilot.
Yeah, we know how to crash and crash well.
They saw Navy pilots slam that thing on the
Slam
runway.
on that deck. We slam on the deck.
That's why we got to fix all the
Air
divots.
Force. Air Force.
It's
goes,
like, hey, you don't have to catch a wire at this airport. Now where I land, Reagan.
Oh God, Matt. Yeah, all right. Yeah, we know. Thank you. We're all talking about that on the Truman. Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, I know.
What?
Yeah.
That was a mess.
How come there was no sound on that? I was so annoyed.
I don't know. I don't know why you didn't have any sound on that.
I thought I fixed it today.
No, see, Norm, I can't be easy on the Air Force because my son's in the Air Force. I got to give all kinds of crap to the Air Force.
Oh, that's why.
And I, you know what? He doesn't
go.
want to be. He doesn't want to be anywhere near the water. And I don't get it.
Anywhere near the water.
I'm like
why
half.
not?
I'm like part fish. And he's I don't know. I think
He's a
he was
lizard.
just born under. He was just born under a bad sign.
No zip
Where's he
ties.
stationed?
No.
Where's he stationed, Eric?
He is in North Dakota, where it's cold in the winters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see where he's got one more year, I think, in North Dakota, 1 year or less in North Dakota, and then we'll see. He may end up going to Omaha or somewhere like that. We'll see. Good old Minot. Yes, sir. He's a missileer. So he says he either wants to go back to Vandenberg or he wants to go to SATCOM over in Nebraska. So we'll see how it goes.
So it looks like we may have I think a Navy guy buying the house actually.
Oh, hoorah.
Yeah,
There we go.
So
B-52s are there, I believe. Yeah, B-52s are there.
nope. Yep. Wow, 36 people watching. Hey, yo, give us that thumbs up, 36
Give us
people.
that thumbs up. If you got 36
Yeah.
people in here, I want to see 36 thumbs up.
That means I want to see
Smash it,
36
smash it,
votes
smash it,
right
smash it.
now
We
because
got
we got 3
27.
minutes.
We got 27 thumbs up.
We
Come
need
on now.
we need 36 votes on both picture of the week. Then is there novice
Richard,
and
I
and
don't know. I don't know why, it was the Truman. I don't get it. I was on the Kennedy. So we had our fair share too. No, and I wasn't there. I had an A6 fall off.
the B52 is what?
Yeah, they're
We had
damn
an
near
A6
golden.
fall off.
Yeah, we had that was back in the day.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking Love Shack. I'm sorry.
Like an A6 or an A7 that fell off. It missed the pilots missed the hook.
Wire.
And they missed the wire, and they forgot. And for some reason, the guy didn't throttle up hard enough, and
went down.
yeah, it went down, and they ejected, and they ended up going down. But hey, it was an old one. It was like I think it was an A6. They were getting to be retired anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's all
almost didn't make it.
That's Vietnam era tech.
Yeah, it is.
Oh
It
my
is.
goodness.
That was back in Desert Storm.
Slim
All right,
Pickens.
so 1 minute. Let me get
Great planes though.
ready.
Bad Mountain
Yeah,
A6,
the intruders
those
were great.
Dr. Strangelove. What a great movie.
Light
I was
of the
an F4
intruder.
guy. I love the F4s. I always thought they
Was that the Tomcats?
were F4 Phantom.
F4s are the Phantoms.
Phantom.
14s, those are mine.
They were basically
14's a Top Gun.
two massive engines with wings on it.
Flying rocks. Flying
Yeah,
rocks.
but they hauled ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know nothing about this. This is like I know as much about this as Eric knows about hockey.
Yeah.
So
Pretty much.
I know
That's my
Zippo.
bucket list, is to be able to fly in a fighter jet at some point.
You want to fly a plane?
I just be in one of those fighters, man. Like
There's something.
Blue Angels or something like that.
They are something.
Shake it down.
Less than a minute, people. Less than a minute.
Norm, you
I
got
hope
to fly
you
an
vote
F-16. Yeah, F-16s are badass too.
Closest I ever got was when I was in the ROTC. We went to NAS Jacksonville, and I actually got into the simulators. Was able to get in the simulators of an F-18.
There you go.
You know, on my in my sophomore cruise. No, my sophomore cruise. That was pretty cool though. Just getting in a simulator and trying to land on a carrier at night. Everybody crashed. Everybody crashed. Everybody in the class crashed.
I had a friend of mine. His brother was he was a Navy pilot, F-18. I was like, dude, how hard is it to land on the deck of the carrier? And it's like, well, picture this. If you put a postage stamp on the ground and you dive at it and you need to lick that postage stamp as you're diving head first at that postage stamp. That's about what it's like. And I'm like, oh man, I don't even want to.
Just like we had the way it was like, close your eyes, lick a postage stamp in the air and try to catch it with your tongue. That's what it's like to try to catch the 3-wire at night.
Because you can't see the ocean. You don't understand how much that deck's pitching.
Nope. You just watch.
So much teamwork. Light. So much
you
teamwork.
Watch those freaking lights. All right, let's go. Here we are.
Let's go.
Let me share my screen here. Okay, so congratulations to. Thank you for entering. Approaching Totality by John. He was our only novice entry.
Oh, wow.
But-
Come
Got
on. The only
21
one?
of 21
Yeah,
votes.
21 of 21 votes.
Oh, there you go. Rock and roll. You got 100% of the votes. Nice job.
You got 100% of the votes. You got a landslide. And we had 44.
All right, we
the
have more than
experience
36. All right.
And our winner is
Uh,
Dun, dun, dun. What do we got?
Keith Sisk.
Wow. With the C Star
18
shot.
votes with the C Star.
really?
Sweet.
Congratulations.
Well, you beat some heavy hitters there. You
Beat some heavy hitters. You
Bob.
beat Bob and Tom.
Can we see that picture?
Yeah.
Bob
yeah,
with
sure.
his plane wave CDK 17 and
Bob is like, Dan, I'm gonna call you for a new camera. I'm not getting beat by an S50.
Yep. Yeah. Beat by an S50.
somebody put out the word to vote for that.
They did.
Yeah, that's all right. That's no
Put
wrong
the
with
friends
that.
and family
and
message
that's how
out
it
with
is.
that one
There it is.
That's a nice picture.
picture.
It's a nice picture though for an S for
I
a
like
C-Star.
the
That's a
color
nice picture.
representation's great.
Yeah, a good picture for a C-Star. So congratulations there, Keith. His first, I think this is his first win in the experience side
Nice.
because he's just recently moved over to the experience side from the novice. So congratulations.
Well, congrats,
Yeah.
bro. Nice job.
Yeah. So because you beat out Bob and
That's it.
And Tom Peter.
beat out Tom.
Oh,
Tom,
So,
yours is good.
hey.
A little crunchy, but looks good.
So, but nonetheless, congratulations.
very, very nice. Very nice.
So I'll get those set up here.
Very sweet. Oh, who said Nebula nerds? Oh,
LCD.
somebody said Nebula nerds. Did somebody did I put that out there yet or no?
Swiftwater instructor.
Did I put that out there yet or no? Did I say that I was doing something? No, I didn't. So
No, not that I'm aware of.
so Sean Nielsen and I are slowly putting together that podcast, and we decided to call it the Nebula Nerds. And
Oh, really?
God.
yeah, so Sean Nielsen and I are going to be getting together and putting that together probably over the next couple of months. But it's going to be like a 20-minute thing, and nothing crazy. Just going to talk about getting into the hobby, getting into the the beginning parts of it, and how to deal with processing as a beginner, and how to deal with taking image acquisition as a beginner. It could be very daunting. It could be very crazy, and it's really super important. And I know we talk about this a lot, but I can't say it enough that it's so important to get involved with your local astronomy club. And there are people there with plenty of knowledge, and I'll say 99.9% of them will share it. There'll always be that 0.01% that won't, and it's all about the the secret chef's recipe kind of thing. There's that 0.01%, but most of the people out there are very, very forthcoming, and they want people to get better. And so join your local astronomy club, get involved, and it will definitely help you in navigating the speed bumps that can come with delving into something like this, because it can be daunting, especially when there's no one to talk to. But hey, Keith is like, wait, what? I won? It's like it's like a bad Eddie Murphy thing. He's like, he effing won. Yeah, I'm gonna vote for him. Yeah. He effing won.
Yeah, Tom. Yeah, this is my local astronomy club.
Hey, and Tom, you know what? And Dave, that's if we are awesome, but remember,
a lot of people, we have a lot of fun time in the chat, and I know there are a lot of people watching us that aren't in the chat and just watching, because I see the same names popping up all the time. So I know there's not 35 names going across, but ask the question. You know what I mean? And the only stupid question is the one that's not asked. Right. So I mean, don't sit there and hold it in. If you have a question, go on the chat. If you're not comfortable going on the chat, that's fine. Go on the Discord and DM me or Dave or Eric or Scott or whatever, and DM us and say, hey, listen, I didn't want to put it out there, but I'm having a problem with this. Can you give me a hand? And all of us would come up and say, okay, let me get in. You don't know how many times this week I went into somebody else's computer to fix their, Nina sequence. Or
100% of the answers you won't get are because you didn't ask the question.
Yeah, 100%, man. And
100% of the shots you don't take don't go in the net or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's a hockey term. I think that was a.
Yeah, but you can apply it to asking a question.
I always thought about the golf one.
If you need an answer to something, but don't ask the question, you'll never find the answer.
Nope. And it's like you always use it as a golf anagram. 100% of short putts miss the cup. So
that's true. Don't go in.
So it's like one of those things. And apparently I found a new golfing buddy. Holy crap. I haven't had a golfing buddy in 5 or 6 years, and I got fat, and my torque is gone, and everything's probably shot, because I gotta go around the fat belly to hit the ball now. So I mean, so we'll see how this is gonna work out. But I mean, but join my club for night boy. I know Nikon has been having some issue with the QHY focuser on a Schmidt. She's looking for some help. So if anybody has any idea, and you know what you might want to do, Nikon, is you could still join the Starfront Discord even if you're not a customer. So you could join the Starfront Discord, and that's becoming a really large forum for questions as well. So go out there and take a look at that and answer questions. I do not have a queue. I've always been the proponent, and Eric, you're a Schmidt user, so please, correct me if I'm wrong. And same thing with you, Scott. I've always been a proponent of rear cell focusing for Schmidts, as opposed to knob focusers, especially with non-edge scopes, where that primary mirror is moving back and forth like this,
and wobbling.
So the more you could keep that mirror stabilized and just focus from the rear cell, where only stuff on the scope is moving, not the mirror, will be more beneficial to you in the long run. That's my opinion. Right. And honestly, in edges as well, I am really more of, even though you got the mirror locks, I'm still a proponent, because once you lock down the mirrors, right? You're
not moving it.
You're not moving it, right?
Not moving
You're not moving that focuser, right? You're not doing it. So the whole point of those mirror locks is to stop that flop and stop that motion and make it more stable, so you can focus from the back and get that tight focus.
From the rear cell,
is tougher to get as you go to longer focal lengths. That's critical focus zone gets smaller and smaller and smaller as your focal length gets larger and larger and larger. So that's definitely one of the things.
I think it might also be a bigger issue with non-edge SCTs and such.
Oh, I agree 100%. Yeah, it is a larger issue, but it is still could be an issue of, mirror flop has been minimized with the edge, even when you're on that
when you're
knob,
locked down.
on that knob when you're not locked down.
Yeah. The actual
It's been
But still got
minimized,
it.
but
And the
still.
whole thing is, if a non-edge you can't lock, even though you may have a rear self focuser, use that, fine tune your
Yep.
focusing.
And if you have a really old, like an original,
But
like
as soon as you
orange
hit the
tube,
meridian and it flips,
and you can have
now
tilt
the
on the other
mirror's
side.
up.
Yeah. So the more you can keep
Yep.
that mirror stable, the whole point of the edge, right, is those mirror locks, right? That's what it is,
Right.
to lock it down, right? So you don't have any problems. And if you don't use those, if you use them, you need a rear self focuser. If you don't use them, then you're defeating the purpose. You'll still have the edge.
Well, you look in the instructions that come with the edge. That's one of the first things that I noticed was that they were talking about those mirror locks, that they are primarily used for transporting the scope, moving it.
That's
so
it.
that you're not smacking the mirror around.
Right.
But I can tell you from my experience, with the 14, which you're not going to get a much bigger mirror than that.
No.
I haven't seen much in the way of mirror flop. Now, that might be due to the fact that I replaced the focuser with the Starlight Instruments focuser. I don't know for sure. That focuser is a much better focuser than what Celestron gave. Comes with the Celestron scope. So that might have something to do with it. I'm not sure, but
yeah. Well, you also got to remember.
I haven't seen anything.
No, well, the mirror flop really is for the older scopes. You got to remember with the, I'm old. So, I remember some of these, not as old as Dave, but I'm old. But, you got to remember that. And I almost did something really perverted, so I'm not going to do it. But the older scopes really have a pin, right? With the focuser turns this pin and pushes a pin against the back of the primary mirror to move it further and closer away to get focus.
Slide up and down the tube.
It slides up and down the tube, and that was the perversion thing that I was going to do. But whatever. But the whole thing is that's where that mirror flop came in, because it was always pushing on one side or the other of the mirror. So one side of your stars were in focus and the other wasn't. That's a lot with the older versions of the scopes. Now they've changed the way the focuser works in the edge, so that probably says why you're not seeing a lot of it. So that's definitely one of the definite advantages of the edge. But I don't care. Maybe it's just me being old and crazy and grumpy and grouchy, but I'm still a proponent, which McCaskgrains, of doing the rear cell as opposed to the knob. I just am.
Yeah.
If you can afford it.
Yeah.
It does.
The
whole thing with the edge too was it has a built-in corrector, right?
On the front, yeah.
Yep.
But doesn't it have like a built-in coma corrector?
It has a number. It has another
tube.
piece of glass in the front on the other side of the in the tube. I'm sorry, in the tube. Yeah.
In the tube. Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to getting this 11 out, and I had to order some stuff from I had to order a piece from Precision Parts.
That thing on the mount either.
What's that?
Oh no. I'm gonna take my time. Me and Jax are gonna go out there and put that. And once that sucker goes on there, I don't know if I'm gonna be taking it off anytime soon. I think that thing's gonna. I think I'm gonna end up buying a new mount just so I can use the refractor in the Rasa and the 8. Get a like a 150i or something like that.
There you go.
And do something like that, because that 11, once it gets on there, man, I don't plan on trying to take that thing off it.
I don't blame
on and off and on and off and on and off.
Yep.
So yeah. So I am gonna try let me get a second, inexpensive mount, and not just look at the like I said, look at that Skywatcher, because it's lightweight, and I may even look at the 88, I'm
Knicks?
thinking about it, but I'm thinking, yeah, but I'm leaning more towards the Skywatcher 150 because that 150 gives you more payload.
It does.
Capacity.
Than the 88, yeah.
Than the 88.
Yeah, the 150 is more of the 101. What's that?
WD-20s, it works really well too.
Yeah, if you could get those too. Nobody could get those yet.
You can get it.
Yeah.
I got mine.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you got yours.
That's when I had 3 of them. You got one of the 3, and since then it's been tough to get. But I spoke to the guys over at Warp Astron, and they're starting to ship again too. So
I've lucked out on
I might even look at
an
I may even
got the WD-20
look at
right in time, and I got my EQ6 right before the price went way up on those.
Yep, me too.
I may even, but speaking of that, I might even consider the EQ6.
What?
You know, I might even consider an EQ6.
That's a heavy son of a bitch.
Again, what?
Though.
You know, for a secondary scope. I said it consider, but
no.
said I consider.
Not a
You
bad
said
mount.
you said you wanted a lightweight mount.
But if you want something lightweight, you don't get an EQ6.
But I do want.
Dude, that
Yeah,
mother's heavy.
Oh my god.
My back
That's a
probably
beast,
can't handle you,
bro.
Yeah, so
It does have
it'll
a
probably
handle,
be that
though.
150.
Yeah, but the handle sucks. Try the position of that handle is horrible. You needed one on the front too, like the CGX. You needed one. You hold that by the handle and then try and put that on the mount.
No, here's the key. You gotta lower the counterweight. Put your arm under
That's what I do.
You know what?
That's what I
You know
do.
what? Forget it.
Hold it by the
Forget about it.
counterweight bar.
Forget about it.
You just stick your arm. You kind of cradle it.
That's what I did. Yep, that's exactly
Forget
what I
about
did.
it.
It's too damn heavy, man. It's too heavy.
Forget about it. I'm done. Nope. It's
too
out.
heavy.
Then it's out. It's out.
Yeah,
so like the
you know.
WD-20 on the tripod with the mount and the telescope, I can pick it all up. Bring it
And
inside,
Dave will
wanna-
make you an
everything all
adapter for it.
together.
I want to,
And yeah,
you know,
I can
honestly,
make you an adapter.
I want to find something that I can use, and I'm seriously thinking even that HAE43.
Yeah.
Because I want to use, because I've got all this Ioptron gear, and I've got the tri-pier and all that stuff. I want to be able to utilize this stuff, so it may end up being an HAE43.
Not a bad choice.
You know, and just use, and you know, it's all about using what you got.
Yep.
You know, and not spending more money than necessary. So,
you know, there's always going to be something
gotta
new
have
coming out. There's always going to be something new coming out. You know, the next thing will be, you know, a mount that weighs about 9 pounds that has a payload of like 75. I mean, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be out of control.
Sorry, Matt. I don't know if you heard. I didn't get that. I got the Mighty. I got the Mighty mount.
Deal on the Mighty Pro. Mighty.
I got a deal on the Mighty mount, and I could not.
You
say
can't
no.
pass that up, man.
I could not pass that up.
Nope.
Matt,
Nope.
I couldn't pass that up. So I have a Mighty mount. So, yeah. Yeah, make an adapter for the tri-pier. I could. I mean, definitely try to figure that out and try to make an adapter for the tri-pier for the Skywatcher 150i. I'm sure there's a way to do it.
Yeah,
there's always ways to do it.
Dimensions.
I think the 100i may be my next.
I know somebody who's good with pool. Send me the dimensions. Send me a block of aluminum, and I'll get it made.
My dad's got this awesome set of tools. You can fix it.
Yeah.
Justin, when he made that my WD-20 to fit the mount or the tripod I had, it's primo.
Oh, I use my EQ8R Pro as well, and I have not moved it in 2 years because it's been on a pier. So, I mean, it's a lovely thing to have that thing on a pier. That EQ8R, you think the 6 is a beast? Man, the 8 is a freaking disaster. I mean, that thing it is not made to be mobile.
That's a monster.
That is not made to be mobile. That is not something.
Yeah, it's huge. It's what they call an observatory.
Yeah, it's observatory grade mount. I didn't get the RH with the encoders because I didn't think my scene would make it worth it. I don't think it would make it worth it. You know, my scene, but then everybody tells me, oh, once you get encoders, you'll never go back, or and all this stuff. Maybe if I move, I'll get one with encoders. Maybe if I move.
Yeah, maybe.
If you move,
maybe
you're still gonna find it's gonna work fine.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm doing all my, you know, we got a bunch of data from Starfront. We got about 9 hours worth of data on HA. Got some LRGB that closed tonight. But you know, there's a little rain, but I believe the 19th, 20th, 21, 22, 23 for the extended forecast all look clear. So
And the moon's getting smaller.
And the moon's getting, and Leon's getting larger.
The moon is shrinking. Yeah, it looks like Monday night I might be able to get some cats.
You know,
tomorrow might be an opportunity for me. Tomorrow might be an opportunity.
You know,
that's what it was looking like for me as well.
Tomorrow?
I was hoping to get some HA tonight, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah,
tomorrow might be an opportunity. If not, at least tomorrow, I'm gonna at least try to collimate the 11 tomorrow, but I'm gonna do it indoors. I've got an artificial star and got that set up that I'm going to be getting, and I'm going to stick it in the backyard, and I'm going to set the edge here inside the house. Just open up the door and to the backyard.
I was ready for him to say I'm going to shoot through the window. And
no, God, I'm not shooting through the window. Good
He's
Lord.
just trying to simulate his seeing.
Yeah, I'm shooting, but I am going to shoot through a screen. I am going to shoot through a screen.
Okay.
Yeah, that artificial star will probably penetrate the screen. Okay.
Yeah. You might get.
It's going to be super. It's going to be like I don't know, 50 yards away or something like that. So
yeah.
Keith had a question. Anyone using an area disc telescope?
Ooh, no, but
we carry it.
No, but I saw them at NEAF and they look pretty cool.
Yeah, they do. I'm looking at opening up a reseller deal with them. So that's something that we're talking about. We don't carry them yet, but we're looking at a little tri-bat for the edge.
For the 11. Yeah.
For the 11.
Got it.
There you go.
Yeah, Eric,
the AM5 is much more portable than the EQ6, but it doesn't have the payload as the EQ6.
No, yeah. I mean, well, it's just under it. I mean, was it 33 pounds for the AM5?
33.
33 and 44 with the counterweight, if I remember right. I'm trying to remember.
Scott.
44 with the counterweight?
Yeah.
Maybe it's 44 with the counterweight.
That's pretty good. That's equal.
I was able to readjust the mirror because there is I took off the corrector plate ring, and I was able there was a little mark underneath that's from Celestron, because I guess they do it at the factory where they mark it.
Oh, you're talking about the secondary assembly, or are you talking about the outer ring?
The outer ring, on the corrector plate. I took off So I took off the corrector plate ring, unscrewed it, and I started, I put my I got my little headlight, and I started doing and checking, and sure enough, it's right there at the very top. And so I just turned the secondary assembly towards that and matched it up and put everything back down and locked it in. So now it should be aligned the way I guess it was supposed to be.
Originally was. Yeah, I mean, you would think that they would put clock mark on them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, the registration mark on the outer ring is for the position of the corrector plate itself, right?
Yeah, but then you also for the secondary where you have that set screw for the mirror,
that should be pointing due south.
I was told you have to point to where the mark is on the corrector plate. They should match up. That marker match and the set screw, they should be pointing. The set screw needs to be pointing to where the marker is on the mark is on the corrector plate.
It may be
So-
scope specific, because mine
It
from
may
the
be.
factory, it
Mhm.
is it's pointing straight down,
Yours is pointing straight down. So yeah, it's
and I
so
haven't messed with that at all. That thing is rock solid. I haven't messed with it at all.
Yeah.
I pulled the
so
secondary mirror out, but
Mhm.
yeah, no.
But have you taken the
It's pointing
corrector
straight
plate
down.
off to where it seen the mark for the corrector plate as well?
No, I haven't taken the corrector plate off.
So maybe that's on your bottom.
Yeah, so yours may be on the
That's what I'm
bottom.
saying. It might be scope specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so I'm using artificial star, of course, just to get it collimated as best I can, because with me moving everything around, because that sucker was so darn loose. Why did I get? Because it's pre-owned. It's a pre-owned edge versus the XLT with a star zone reducer. Because it's pre-owned, and I saved myself, 50% getting a pre-owned.
Yeah, he went out and got Bobby's girl.
Wow.
I just dated myself there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't say much, but every now and then, look out. Here it comes.
Yeah, here it comes. So, but yeah.
Yeah, do not take the corrector plate off unless you know what you're doing.
Don't take. You do what you're doing. No.
If you know what you're doing, feel free, but do at your own discretion. But let me tell you, just know a lot of the corrector plates are matched to where they need to be. So you don't want to
put them exactly back.
Yep. So one thing that I did, as somebody who's done this many times, I used to get some whiteout, a little brush, little brush right across this way, and then let it dry, and then cut it with a little paper clip, cut it, and then you have a little piece of whiteout on exactly where it's supposed to be. So that's one way to do it. I'm sure there are other ways that some people take
masking tape.
Some people use I don't like using masking tape. I just think tape and glass.
Painters.
They're like painter's tape. Yeah.
I don't like using any tape with glass.
Zip ties and painter's tape. And it's
a razor blade. But just but no, don't use a razor blade on your mirror. But
no.
No.
On your mirror.
So
don't you dare.
Yeah. So there are certain ways and other ways to do that, but you want to make sure that the mirror the correcting lens goes exactly the same way and the same orientation as you got it from the factory.
Exactly. Because
Dan, with Star Exterminator is it a huge deal anymore? Well, that's a good question. Yeah. And you know what? We talk about this a lot. I'll tell you that the more you could get the image as clean as you can before you start processing it, the better your image will be at the end.
Yes.
In my opinion. Yep. I know other people out there will disagree with me on that. That it's good enough for them, and you got to decide what's good enough for you. I mean, that's what it is. For me, it's not good enough. I like to that's why I'm freaking out about Starfront, because I want my collimation right. Even though the Blurax is going to fix it, really, and do a good job doing it, but on the rare occasion that Blurax just doesn't work with a certain object, and I've had that situation where Blurax just doesn't work. It just doesn't. It doesn't work. Their AI or something is just not perfect. But you know what? 99% of the time it'll be fine. But that 1% chance of it not working, I don't want it to be for an issue that I could fix or have fixed. You know,
Yep.
so the cleaner the image to start, the easier it is to process, the less crap you're gonna have to do to it, the better. So I mean, that's just me being anal. And listen, I am at, you know, right now I'm probably the least practiced astrophotographer of the group right now, because I have not imaged a goddamn thing. Scott's even imaged more than me this year. And you know, I mean, yeah, Eric's like, yeah, you did. but that will change very, very soon. I have data on 5 different objects right now from Starfront. So
Shut up, Dan.
that's gonna
Freaking
come,
401 skies.
that's gonna come up real soon, you know. So I mean, you know, hey, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So
Show off.
no, you know what? It's not, you know, it's just convenient for me.
It is. It is convenient.
And you know, it's kind of like, remember what online dating, it used to be such a taboo thing back in like the 90s. Oh, you met your girlfriend online, oh my god. It's like, it used to be really like you kept it in the closet, you didn't tell anybody. You know, you didn't tell anybody back in the 90s that you were doing online dating. And now it's like everyone's, you know, they're doing swipe left, swipe right, sizzle, fizzle, all this kind of stuff. And you know, twerking on video and all the whatever they're doing. It's crazy what's out there. But you know, eHarmony, yeah, you know, all that kind
I will tell you right now, the best $50 a month I ever spent. eHarmony, been married 20 years now.
Well,
it was the best $50 I ever spent.
Chemistry.
There you go.
Met Jen on chemistry 15 years ago.
There you go.
But
20 years.
But it's the same thing as remote observing now. You know, back then remote, like Slew came out and a couple other things came out, and they're like, oh, that's cheating, that sucks. You know what? But now that the technology and stuff has gotten so good that you could take your stuff and put it on a pier. What's the difference if you are remote imaging from your backyard or remote imaging from another state? There's no difference.
Same, you're using the same, you're doing the same exact
equipment.
thing.
It's not like I'm renting a TAC 1, you know, 10 whatever in Chile. You know, on a Pure Tech and a Mighty mount that could track for 20 minutes unguided. you know, it's not like that. You're still using your own equipment, and that's the biggest thing.
Yep. All right, guys, we are at time.
Oh man, so soon. I was having fun.
So soon. We were having, you know, we got off the rails a bit, but again, thank you everybody for joining us. Have a great weekend.
Yep.
We're gonna go through some final thoughts here. Scott, start off with you. Final thoughts.
Pray for clear skies.
No kidding.
Okay.
And great presentation. I'm sure it helped a lot of people.
I hope it helped a lot of
people learn more.
I hope so. So thank you.
I think Eric's blushing. I think he's blushing a little bit.
Anyway, Super Dave.
Yeah, great presentation, Eric. And you know, ideally, you know, next couple of weeks or so we can address each individual part that you've been through.
Yeah.
Answer any questions anybody's got. But yeah, clear skies, please. Come on. Enough of these clouds and rain. Terrible. And no naders. Hopefully, Tom and all you guys.
Stay safe out there.
Yeah. Watch out for those twisters.
For sure.
Unless you're going to be like Sherry and go hunting them down. But then she is a tornado all on her own. So.
NTM. It's a twister.
All right, there, Mr. Trekkie.
Yeah. That's my final thought.
There you go.
No. On a serious note, listen, we got a bunch of guests coming up. Okay. I know Eric's working on 3. I know I have 3 books, so we're looking at 6 guests over the next couple of months. We got Rumen Bogdarsky from Indigo. We have Sarah Matthews coming back on. I also picked up Tom McCrory from Pick Astro. If you haven't seen that software, Pick Astro.
You picked him up.
I don't know if I could actually pick him up, but
you picked him up. Jen's gonna be.
Yeah, I got a lot of explaining to do if I'm picking up Tom.
You got a lot of explaining to do there, Lucy.
And I'm not talking about the strength either. So we got
Thank you
that.
for loading me up with that image.
And Tom, if you're watching, I love you, dude. It's fine. It's all good. It's all in good fun. But so and I know that you're working on and also I know I reached out to Luca.
Nice.
Because I know that you interviewed her, and I couldn't find an email for her, but I went to a website and I reached out to her. What's up?
Good. I hope so. Good. Awesome. I'm glad you did.
Yeah, she's going to be on probably sometime in July, August.
That'd be awesome.
So I mean, and you're working on a bunch of people as well.
Yeah.
So
trying to get Finger Lakes, Finger Lake Instruments. I'm trying to get, their Dwarf and I'm trying to work on
Lonnie
Starlight
Spectrum, right?
Express. Yeah, and Lonnie. So hopefully people get back to me. But yeah, again, thank you guys for your support, continued support. Thank you to our Patreon members. Get some, Dan's got that data coming, so definitely keeping a lookout for that. And next week we'll talk, we'll start talking about building rigs. We'll start off, off of this foundation and we'll build on it. So, and that's how I think we want to try to do the show.
Yep.
Is to help our friends out, help people out, and direct them to the best way we can to get them more interested in the hobby and stay in the hobby. So yeah. Again, have a great weekend, everybody.
What was that?
That's it.
I said setting up kit builds.
Yep,
there it is. So have a great weekend, everybody. Clear skies, and just as always, keep imaging, keep educating, clear skies, and we will see you guys on Wednesday night. So take care, everybody.
Peace.